Hey geeks, do you love comics, collectibles, and TCG? Well, here at Cardboard Cave, we have the place for you. Pass by Kapitan Granuja Comics and Games and find all your favorite geeky items there. Look for them at Facebook or Instagram or call them at 787-659-7003. A store blessed by Nicole Bolas.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cardboard Cave. I have little Ducky Hat with me, trying out the Snapchat camera filter. I have freckles for some reason. Whatever. Let's just start with a new episode of Cardboard Cave. First up, JP.
What's up?
Yeah.
That little Ducky hat. You earlier had a little pink cowboy hat, but now little Ducky hat is perfect.
Hey guys, what's up? Long time no see.
Is it your audio? Your audio glitched out real bad. Yeah, it's your audio, Alejandro. It's really bad. It's really bad.
Let me see.
It's fine. It's fine. It's a demon possessing you. It's fine.
No, but it's too horrible.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad.
Okay, let's do this. Let's quickly jump into the first topic, and I'm gonna leave the chat until it's fixed. But I'm gonna leave with the first topic of today. Let's just go.
I don't know if it's like your proximity to the mic, because as soon as you got a little,
Is it better here? Is it here?
it is better, but you still hear static.
Okay, I'll fix that. Okay. Let's start with the first topic. JP wanted to talk about it. It is this. Go ahead, JP.
So the Russo brothers just left the Netflix animated project. They put Jeff Klein, like the whoever, I'm not sure whoever is like hiring, whoever is leading the project, but they put Jeff Klein in as the new lead. Jeff Klein, if you do not know, he's done a lot of different cartoons. I know him from making the Jackie Chan Adventures. If you ever remember those?
Guys, such a
Yeah.
good show.
Those are pretty old cartoons. But yeah, I remember. I know him from there. So if like I don't know why. Like I'm pretty sure. I was reading up on, but there's no like specific reason why they left.
Yeah, according to the article, it says that it was an amicable like parting of ways. So it literally, like the way it's worded, at least in the article, is just kind of like, yeah, they literally just decided they were gonna like not work on it and they left or something like that. It's
Basically,
weird, in my opinion. I have no idea what the Russo brothers might have in mind, but it just seems a bit odd, I guess.
maybe they just have a lot of bigger projects. I mean, they are very quite famous, and it might get picked up on other projects. So I guess that makes sense. I'm just seeing a bit more on Jeff Klein, that he worked on the Clone Wars for Star Wars as well. He was one of the he worked on that too. I'm sad that they left. Because they've definitely made things just kind of glow just with their touch.
Mm-hmm.
But I am kind of hopeful, actually. I'm kind of hopeful with Jeff Klein.
I am wondering if like there might be any difference in between like the first few episodes that still might have the creative input from the Russo brothers. And if there's like anything to contrast in like future episodes of the series, or if they're just kind of like blend things together or something. I don't know. I don't even know like what phase of the project they currently are on, so I wouldn't be able to tell.
Well, whether they have a little touch or not, I'm hopeful. Let's see. But in that case, if they do have a little touch on the first maybe second episode, do you think then? Okay, wait. Speak. Then you're muted.
Speak, O Eldritch One.
Testing, talking normal.
There you go. You sound a bit low.
Sound good, just very low.
Just
Yeah.
very low?
Like the volume sounds low.
Oh no. How don't know why it's low. That's
Yeah,
very
like
weird.
very low.
Very low? Oh god. Okay.
Yeah.
At least it's
It's-
not horrible.
No, yeah, there you
It's
go. I don't
slowly,
know why
like,
it's.
going up a little bit for some
It's going
Yeah,
reason, but
a little bit.
yeah, there you go.
yeah.
There you go.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh well, I guess these $40 microphone ran its course then. Okay.
No, we
Anyways,
sound a lot better now.
before I continue, what do you think about the whole thing? We were just talking, like, while you were fixing that, we were just talking about the Russo's brothers just leaving the Magic Gathering Netflix show. They left amicably, and I was talking about how Jeff Klein is the new guy. I know him from Jackie Chan Adventures, the cartoon, but I was reading up that he also worked in on the Clone Wars,
Yes,
which
Okay.
is very good.
also, like, other people that worked with him in Clone Wars that also are part of a project, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I also know one of I also know one of the art directors
Mhm.
for the show is Izzy. Izzy is one of a very notable artist in Magic the Gathering. Like
Izzy Madrano?
if I'm not mistaken, yes. I'm not sure her last name, since when you look at a card made by Izzy,
Yeah,
you
just
usually
Izzy.
look at the art, and the art just says made by Izzy. Like, it's just Izzy. That's it. I'm not sure about the last name, but I know
Yeah,
it's
I just saw
Izzy.
her in the article. It's
Yeah,
Izzy
then
Madrano.
it's probably her, and their art is amazing.
Yeah,
So, and
I
they've
didn't
been working
actually
with
know that
Magic
she
the
was in
Gathering for a
Simpsons
long
also.
time. So at
Mm.
least they're using people within the community, within the entirety of Magic the Gathering for these types of projects, which makes me even more so hopeful. What do you think about the Russos leaving, Alejandro?
It makes sense. I wasn't expecting them to actually stay doing a Magic the Gathering show on Netflix. That seems like a waste of time for them. I always found it very weird that out of every creative person in Hollywood to tackle Magic the Gathering animated, it wouldn't be the Russos, based on their body of work throughout their whole career. Like, it's not a thing. I know they're a little bit geeky, of course, but I don't know, like, because it's gonna be like a 2 or 3 year endeavor working on this.
Mhm.
Even if they're not like the showrunners. I don't know. I
I'll,
never thought it made sense to me.
I also
So
noticed that, like, the tone that the article kind of sets, it talks
mhm,
about how much, like, the Russo brothers have, like, a passion for the game.
sure. I mean,
So I do still feel like losing the Russo brothers for the project is definitely, like, big L, but I don't know. I do think Klein might, like, is capable of doing a really good job. So I'm just kind of hoping for the best at this point.
I guess it's like a big L in terms of having a big name on the project.
Yeah.
But as long as it's someone that understands and respects the lore, you'll be fine with whoever it is.
Yeah.
It works when you have a passion for it, obviously. But we've seen what passion brings you sometimes, i.e., like the Star Wars trilogy. You know,
yeah.
so it's like, oh, I love Star Wars. Like, JJ, do you really love Star Wars, or are you an idiot? It's like, you're an idiot. Okay, cool. And the Russos, I've noticed that outside Community, outside Arrested Development, and outside what they did for Marvel, which granted is basically most of their body of work, the other stuff they threaded into, it hasn't been good. So they're not amazing creatives. They know how to do certain things well, but they're not infallible.
Mhm.
They do things and they do fuck up. So I feel like it's not even like probably a creative like a
The
creative
creative
decision to
loss.
leave the project. Then when you say you have it's in the article. How do you say when you amicably spill it because you have different visions? Exactly. I don't even think it was a creative like the distinction of what they wanted to do versus what Netflix wanted to do or whatever. I think it was probably more that the Russos got a better gig, and I think
Yeah,
in the coming months,
I mentioned that. Yeah, this was like they probably got a better project,
yeah,
and
and
it
this
just,
was gonna
yeah,
take too long because animated projects like this take a long time. Like
yeah,
when Kevin Smith got into He-Man, for example, that's like a recent example.
Mhm.
That man was there for like a year and a half working on that. or
Yeah.
almost 2 years for one season. So it was gonna be a long time. So I get it, and we all
no,
know
I'm
how.
not, we're not here to
ended
talk
up.
about He-Man. It's just
Oh,
Commander.
let's not do
It's
that
magic.
because
I haven't
we're gonna
seen
get
it,
lost.
so I don't know what's
I've read
It's-
reviews. I was there when
That's just
Omar
like
made like an hour
it's just
rant.
it was just false advertisement. That was the problem.
That's what it
the show.
seemed.
The show per se, fine, but it was just false advertisement. That's the
Yeah.
problem. That's the
Yes.
big problem.
I see.
Yes.
Anyways,
Moving on,
let's
then?
hope this isn't false advertisement,
I
and
hope as
hopefully
well.
this was good, and like maybe just a good step. Maybe having Jeff Klein instead of the Russo brothers, having someone actually just properly devote their time to it. Unlike the Russo brothers probably couldn't because of other projects they would have had
I
gotten.
agree.
Yeah.
So maybe this will be better.
I agree.
want to ask, is that like I noticed that they have like another like announcement for like another mobile game or something back there, like Magic Spell Slingers. Have we gotten a look at the art for the series yet, or is there like nothing
No,
on the table?
there's
Nothing.
nothing.
There's
There's nothing.
speculation.
Yeah,
is
all
like
they
all we
all they
can do.
have is like some of the scripts done, probably. I believe. Like, there's nothing done, man. That's these things take a lot of time
No,
Yes.
to develop.
yeah.
So
I just wonder if they're gonna go with like the 3D animation route, or like they did kind of like with Clone Wars, since the part of the team is
Probably.
on there, or if
It's
they're
it's
gonna go
cheaper.
with more like 2D kind of thing, like more.
Probably 3D.
If it's like the Clone Wars, at least if the quality is there, then I won't mind.
Well,
But
quality,
whenever I
guess
think
you refer to,
3D,
like,
I think
season 3 quality.
yeah, like
If we're going to talk about the previous seasons,
yeah. I believe it's gonna be 3D more than likely. 2D animation is so rare these days. So rare. I know that Netflix does it because they did it for
Yeah.
He-Man. They did it for
Castlevania.
Castlevania.
yeah, exactly. Please use a good example.
I mean, it's the same people who worked in Castlevania worked
Yeah.
in He-Man. So
Exactly. And I saw the trailer. That trailer looked spectacular. It was apparently like the story was the thing that was horrible, not the animation. No one batted an eye with the animation. But it's
you
the
heard
same
him.
studio.
He said it was horrible, not me. I said there was a problem with false advertisement. See,
No. I mean, there's apparently a problem with the story.
me.
That's what I-
It's just me putting words in Alejandro's mind.
But yeah, hopefully it'll be a great show. We've been burnt by all the Wizard properties as of late, so hopefully this will become a Magic Legends deal.
Oof.
Hopefully. Okay, let's bring up the next topic then. The
So-
next topic. Stop the screen. Let's start
Bolting
the screen.
through them because
Yeah, let's go.
this one I have this next topic just comes up every so often. I
Yes.
think we talked about this a bit before.
I think
And
I think
then-
I, like,
or
heard
between
AP's
us.
brain cracking its fingers, just going like, okay, I'm ready.
Let's do this.
And every time if someone brings it up, and that's commander damage.
Yes.
Is commander damage outdated? Do you think it's outdated, Rango?
No, it's necessary. It's a necessary evil.
Okay. Well, you think it's an evil? Oh, that's
Well, no, it's necessary. Let's not say it's necessary evil. I maybe the outdated part is the thing that it's based on the Elder Dragon, so it has to
Yes,
be 21
okay.
because it's 3 smacks of damage. I mean, you
Yeah.
could change the number for the sake of changing it, but I'm fine with 21 because it's one more than the starting life total.
One more
So
than
it
your
makes
starting
sense.
life total, so it makes sense. Yes.
So it makes sense as well. Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
I don't know. I feel like the reason why some people may believe that it is outdated is because I don't think it's that as common as it was before to win by commander damage, at least in my personal experiences with the kinds of decks that I have been playing. Since I guess that a lot of decks kind of keep in mind the fact that the commander is in most cases, I guess you can say, the most important card in your deck because it's what your deck is built around. Therefore, a lot of people tend to either counter your commander or destroy it with lots of priority over other plays that the deck might have. So I do feel like some people might say it's outdated because you don't see commander damage wins as often as you might have before. Obviously, the exception to that being Voltron decks, which again are just built around that whole concept.
And even then, how often do Voltron decks win against something like Control or
Not
just mid-range
at this
value?
point, how often do you see
Voltron decks at
decks
all?
Yeah.
like at your local game store. I personally have not seen a Voltron deck in ages, maybe one
Fabiola.
in yeah. Oh, there
Yeah,
you go,
and
Fabiola. But I haven't played
but,
with Fabiola
but
in so long. Look at
Yeah.
that.
she can just stick a bunch of the auras in other creatures. It doesn't have
True.
to be the
Exactly.
commander.
True.
Because if she just plays an enchantress and just buffs that enchantress,
Hmm.
that's it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like I understand that.
And like at
Her,
sometimes it's just the point where like I. It's not that I much rather because obviously 21 damage is much less than trying to go for 40, but sometimes I much rather just like grow another creature that has less probability of being damaged than my like being removed than my commander and just like smack with that instead. Same deal, I guess. That's all.
I feel
yeah,
like we need it because if we didn't have something like commander damage or this idea of like, oh, it's outdated, we could just like it's not a thing anymore because we win by other means,
Hmm.
but it's still a mean to win. So it's still valid. Like I can win by having Thassa's Oracle. I can win by having whatever. I can win by an infinite loop in black. I can win by commander damage. I feel like all these are valid, and I feel like you need this because if it gets to a point where someone gets a trillion life, although it's not a strategy we see often, if it ends up happening, then you
yeah,
need a safety net, which is that because infect is even rarer than
yeah.
commander
Yes.
damage.
So let's go to that. In the article, he talks about
Yes.
either raise that if you raise the bar. So let's say you raise the number of what would you need for
Raising the
uh,
roof. There you go.
yeah. If you raise it, then it becomes too much of a problem to actually achieve it. Most Voltron decks or decks that rely on it, or even just happening to smacking you in the face with your commander, where if in order to win, you would rely on something like you see there is aggravated assault with an enchantment that just gives you additional combat steps. Expropriate gives you extra turns. Something like seize the day, which gives you an additional combat step. You
Is
start
expropriate like
trying to what? What were you
expropriate
saying?
like legal?
Yes, expropriate is legal and it's very disgusting. Yes, ignore. Don't get that card. No, it's not for you.
Too
Don't
late.
get it.
Knowing a
No, no, no,
TCG player
no, no,
already.
no, no, no,
Too late.
no, 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 no,
It's
no.
already in my cart, JP. It's over.
Too rich for
Alright.
your blood. Too rich for
Yeah,
your
yeah.
blood, buddy. Don't get it.
Most likely, to be honest, but
Anyways, so like raising the roof is a bad idea because it becomes way too hard to actually finish the game with that strategy. But
Yes.
on the other side, you mentioned infect. Infect is just 10 infect and you just lose.
Yeah.
Raising the like lowering the bar in this case instead of infect, lowering commander damage to let's say like 10, it becomes too easy, maybe a bit too powerful.
Yes.
Infect,
I just want to mention that
is not as
it's really cheap.
powerful because of the 10 damage because the infect cards are rare or at least are hard to come by in terms of raising their power and making it difficult to just deal the amount of damage you need to get the side of the infect counters and you just win the game or in this case kill an opponent.
Mm.
So because infect is so like niche,
Yeah.
then it's fine for it to be at 10.
I agree.
Like the only creature I'm thinking was like Blightsteel Colossus, and it's an 11/11 trample indestructible. So if you smack with someone, usually you just kill them. So that's
Yeah.
one creature. Most of the time, people are using like something like I forgot the name. The instant it gives +1/+0 and infect. I think it's Tainted Strike.
Yeah.
It's a 1 on a black. It gives +1/+0 and infect to a creature. That's the most infect way to win is with that
The
card.
most used card, infect.
Usually, if you're trying to win by infect. Another card used commonly is like the overrun effect that gives +1/+1 and trample to all your creatures and infect.
Yes, that is. I
Uh,
literally just pulled one from a mystery booster today. It's
I know it's 2 green for sorcery. Forgot the name.
uh,
Uh,
Triumph of the Hordes.
Triumph of the Hordes. That is
Oh yeah,
correct.
that's a classical one.
Yeah. So, but Tainted Strike, Triumph of the Hordes. That's kind of it. Maybe the exoskeleton, which is an equipment that gives infect, and the enchantment one. but those are and like the exoskeleton is very costly to like it's 4 mana to play and then 2 mana to equip. That's 6 total mana.
Yeah.
Usually that can be stopped rather easily,
Yeah.
and the glistening oil kills your creature slowly. Every upkeep you put a -1 counter on it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the amount of times I've lost to infect in commander have been 0.
I lost to
Oh,
infect to
I
commander
haven't.
like
I haven't.
once.
Yeah,
Like
it's just so
once.
rare because it's
Yeah,
such a
it's like
weird strategy to be able to
uh,
like. You have to have a stupid table where they're not addressing the infect in the room and they're just
most
letting him go
it's
nuts.
just mostly tainted strike. Let's say someone cast
Or a blight steal. That's the only two cards.
everyone's gonna draw 10 cards. I have a Nekusar in play. In response, tainted strike, kill everyone
Yeah, it's the only way. Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
because it's still Nekusar is dealing the damage, so you automatically get the inflict
Mhm.
damage.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's the only way I've lost to like infect that I can like in recent history that I can think of.
Mhm.
I've maybe lost to infect more times. I just don't remember because they're just not that memorable or they're just so rare that you
Yep.
can't even remember them.
I
So
agree.
lowering the bar is maybe a bad idea because unlike
I feel
infect,
like it
you
just steps
always
on
have access to your
toes
commander,
anyways.
Exactly.
and some commanders are pretty big in power,
Hmm.
like really really big. Just smacking you once with your commander.
Either they're really big or something like, for example, Animar, which is fairly common, like
They get
grows
bigger.
like easily, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. So what are you gonna do? Just like lower like what we have at 21? Let's say we go 5 less, 15. You can literally there's some commanders that can literally take you out in like one turn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm. No, I think
Uh,
21 is a okay. And
yes,
the joke is, I don't know if you want to spoil it, but the joke is that after he made this long ass article, he just feels that in the end,
it should stay the
it,
same.
it just stays the same. Like he does admit it's a little outdated, but in the end, it's still like a
A
very good way
decent
to win. Yeah,
yes, because
yeah,
it deals with infinite life. It closes out games that go for too long. You can't lower it because it makes it too easy. You can't raise it because it makes it too hard.
yeah.
It's at a perfect stable number for 21 because it's like 1 point extra from your starting life total. It's
Mhm.
just right there.
Yeah.
It's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
something like of
Completely
the
agree.
things you could argue that Commander might need restructuring. Commander damage is definitely not one of them. It's an interesting debate to have for sure,
What
but
would
in
you
the
say
end,
that kind of needs restructuring in Commander that we can kind of save for another podcast?
oh for sure, yeah, it could be something debatable.
No,
Definitely.
but
Oh
that's
wait,
that's
give
what
me a
Oh
that's what
second.
I'm
no!
asking you. Like,
What
if we
is?
if
This is
like it's
interesting.
something.
Sulania says, Ale, we lost both to an inflict player. It did infinite +1/+1 in tokens and attacked all. I must have erased it from my memory. I cry. I guess I cried too, probably. They must have done Triumph of the Horde. I'm pretty sure that's probably what they did.
It probably.
Must have been. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But like, what is a debatable topic? Something, nothing comes to mind. Something
Something that
different.
you would restructure in Commander if you had like that like the attention of the entire Commander player base for 30 seconds.
Hmm. Maybe the way that they ban certain cards or the ban lists per se, maybe could be a thing. Or maybe the idea
Yes.
of planeswalkers being legendary, even though they don't have the legendary tag, could be another thing. Because I know a lot of people wish it could just
All
bring
planeswalkers
any
are legendary,
Yeah, all the
exactly.
ones that have
but
been
So
not
nerfed now, they have
but
like
not all
legendary tech
planeswalkers
now.
can be your commanders.
exacto. Pero some people have probably argued on Reddit at different points in
Yeah,
time that they
making
wanted to become
yeah.
commanders. That's something that could be an
Uh,
interesting thing.
What do you
I know
guys
it will
think
open
about
a
that
can of
actually?
worms, a ridiculous can of
Just to kind of
worms.
like throw that out there. What do you guys think about that? Should we be able to make planeswalkers commanders like at this point?
in my opinion, there's a reason some planeswalkers say this can be your commander
Okay.
Because
because they're
they
one
constructed it that way, but
because they're designed that way. And some have a problem being commanders.
not all
Not all,
legends
not
were
all.
constructed for commander, yet you
True,
use them.
Hmm.
true.
And they were shit. I get it. They weren't like amazing commanders, but not all of them were constructed for commander.
Hmm.
That's a thing that happens now. Like Watsy's very aware, but 6 years ago they weren't. They were just doing legendaries because they were thinking of standard and modern.
I just like having the creature because I can reanimate creature. I can't reanimate
feel that.
planeswalkers
I
as
think in
easily.
this day and age, to kind of put a fresh spin on Commander, I would actually argue Planeswalkers would be cool. Of course, the problem would be that for the first couple of months, everyone would probably have new broken strategies that they've probably been planning for years.
Yeah.
And once they release it, then the committee would come in and be like, "We need to ban like 50 planeswalkers." Fine, ban them, but at least allow planeswalkers to be a thing. The thing is that WotC then would have to start thinking that planeswalkers have to also function as commanders. So if they make him too
Mm.
broken for commander, then they have to think like, oh, they already do this with legendaries. Doing
I
it with
mean,
commander cards is
Look,
another thing they have to consider. So,
at the end of
Yeah.
the day, even though I appreciate the fact that Wizards has taken the time to make some money, I mean, to work on Commander products and have a certain design space that thinks about Commander when they design their legendaries, I think it feels kind of cool when you have like a legendary that is clearly not meant for commander and you decide to build something around it. I think that was what originally attracted me to commander before, like it was like the year after, like it was 2015, 2016ish when I got into magic. So it's only they had only launched like their second or third commander product at
mhm,
most.
yeah.
And I thought it was really cool to take these legendary cards out of the context that they are originally used in the Magic the Gathering, like standard and modern sets, and build a deck around them in Commander. So I wouldn't really mind if Wizards didn't, get into that design space with all of their planeswalkers. Like, it's fine. If it's too broken, screw it. The rules committee will ban it. You know what I mean?
That's what
Like,
I
I
think.
think
And
I
it'll
think
make it
that we shouldn't
fresh and
worry much
different.
about that design space. If
I
Wizards
mean,
takes the time to do
already
that, I guess that's
Brawl
cool.
can already use planeswalkers.
Yeah, but
Exactly. But
Brawl is
honestly,
so
if you're gonna play,
niche.
Yeah, it
exactly, like
is. It is,
I like Brawl
but it's,
from
it's
the
similar
standpoint,
enough.
yeah. Like I like Brawl because of the fact that like it's just like it's kind of a different game. I like playing it when I get the chance to play it in arena, but
Mhm.
if I'm gonna play like physically, like with these cards right here,
Possible.
like I'd rather just play Commander. Like
Yeah.
why should I
Yes.
limit myself to Brawl, which is such a limited space in which you can only use everything that's in standard? Like I think that was the thing that killed the format
Or
outright.
Yes.
historic, because now it's everything in historic. But then
Yeah.
that's another can of
Historic,
worms
but
because now they
historic
have
is
the online
only
cards.
online. Yeah, and that's a
Catch this.
problem.
Catch this.
Ah,
Wizards on Arena recently did an event that was 100 card historic brawl, which I
Okay.
thought was pretty interesting. And at this point, I'm like, Wizards, hurry up and pull the trigger, man. Either put Commander in Arena, or just like do your weird historic stuff and make it like 100 cards and get it over with. You
I
know
feel
you'll
like
have
they
a bigger
should. Yeah.
player base. Like, just pull the trigger, man.
But I mean, I think the professor talked about this. It's the way that they design the base of the game. The base of the game was never designed for 4 player. So
Mhm.
creating at least 4 player historic 100 card brawl would be a gigantic problem because they never constructed from the ground up. They would need to implement that,
Yes.
and we don't know how easy or complicated it would be based on their engine and how they
Yeah.
coded everything.
Yeah, I especially think that it's definitely a problem with Arena's engine because I don't know if you guys have played Arena recently, but me and my friend Tony, we've been definitely going ham at Arena every time we get the chance to. And sometimes when the board gets to a certain point, which in my opinion are the kinds of boards that are fairly common in a format like Commander, like Arena just freaks out.
Oh,
So I
great.
don't mind keeping the one-on-one format as long as I get to build my 100 card deck.
Okay.
Like I don't
um,
mind the one-on-one format if it's for brawl or historic brawl. If we're talking commander and arena, yeah, like I don't want
yeah.
anything less than 4
Mm,
players, like
yeah, of
straight
course.
up. But if we're talking brawl, I'm fine with the 1v1 format.
Okay. But if you're
Well,
telling me that stuff on the stack makes it freeze and it's arena, considering
Not
online,
necessarily stuff
okay,
on the stack. Stuff on the stack usually freezes up the game when it gets to like several like dozens of triggers. Like we're talking about like 20 or 30 triggers or something. There it's where it kind of gets like,
that's weird. I mean,
but I'm talking
MTGO
about
doesn't
like for
freeze us up like
example,
that.
board states. Like
Hmm.
if you have like a really big board state in which at this point you have to like scroll through your
I think it's
creatures to be
mostly
able to do stuff.
animations.
Oh, it's because of the animations,
through
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
because it kind of you
course.
kind of have issues when you transition phases. So let's
Yep.
say you have a really big board and we're talking about like I don't know, like 30, 40, 50 creatures, and the problem with it is that you have tokens and all the tokens are like different and all the cards are different because you basically vomited your whole deck the previous turn. You'll see it like just start kind of like freezing up in between phases, or sometimes I've seen moments in which for like a solid minute it just freezes because it's trying to calculate the amount of triggers for my skewed mob.
Wow.
Well, coming from that, a thing I would change probably from restructure is probably the ban list. So, I think I'm not sure if we've talked about this in the podcast, but
Mhm.
I don't understand why some cards like it's mostly like one specific card. I don't want to really play it, but I understand. I don't understand why it should be in the ban list, which is Biorhythm.
Hull Breacher. Oh,
No.
How
Whole
dare
Breacher,
you, sir?
Whole Breacher
How
belongs
dare
it,
you?
but Biorhythm.
Leovold. Oh, okay.
Biorhythm is an 8 and a green, so a 10 mana for a sorcery that says each player's life total becomes equal to the number of creatures they control. If you
'Cause-
control no creatures, it just kills you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's why.
I
Because
guess that's the problem.
It's 10
that they see
mana.
with it, but exactly, it's 10 mana. Like,
Commander,
what's the
that's
big deal?
doable.
Yes, I know it's doable, but
I mean,
well,
sure. I guess there's people that can
it's your fault
argue
for
that there's
having no creatures.
like,
Well,
Just have
no,
creatures.
no, I disagree, sir. It's
And if I
it's
ha-
your
and I-
fault for playing a 10 mana kill me card. I don't like that as a control player. Screw you.
Well,
if
guess
dude,
stop.
but you can deal
play,
with it.
play your
You're
commander.
playing blue.
Just play your
That's the
commander.
same argument as Iona. When people were like pissy about Iona being better,
I don't feel like Iona should be in the ban list.
fuck, what's wrong with you?
I mean,
It needs to
think
be
about
banned.
it, though.
No.
No.
No, it
It,
doesn't.
it no, it screws up with people. It screws up with how do you call this? With player that like with deck design
With
because it
mono red
forces
players,
people to
like
have
with
to
mono,
run two
not
colors.
mono red.
I
Does
run
it
mono
really,
black. You play an Iona against me. What then, GG?
Well, no, I've been on
I
the other
guess-
side of a GG. I've had to start using colorless cards to combat it. No,
Just
I don't
counter
need
it,
to be
Mtgo,
fixing my
counter it.
deck for one stupid card because one
Counter
card
it.
literally screws my whole deck.
Counter it.
Hey, Hushbringers
If
destroys
I
my
don't
entire
have
deck.
to counter, I literally
Hey,
lose
hey,
on the
hey.
spot, and that's happened to me far too often. Iona
Oh.
triggers me. Iona needs to stay banned.
Nah.
Yes.
Hushbringer triggers me.
Okay.
As soon as that card was printed, I got several copies and broke them in front of people. You remember
I
that?
remember.
Oh, yeah.
I
You remember that? Yeah.
I
I,
remember
was
that.
like, "Give me your copy. I'll buy it."
Me
I
like
bought the
me
copy,
like
just broke it.
looking at the card and being like,
Triggers
oh, wait, but I
me.
wanted one of those, and then JP's just like,
Like, fuck
No.
Yeah.
no.
I got one in the
remember
packs when
you
I
just
went.
broke it.
Yeah, I just broke it.
Yeah.
I hate that card. It just destroys every single one of my decks. No ETBs, no die triggers.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
like
I
that's
don't-
and that's
I
like
don't like Iona. It literally calls a color, and half of the table can't
yeah,
play.
but here's the difference. Like Iona's banned, Hushbringer isn't, and it literally just destroys like two archetypes.
But there's a lot of
completely.
cards that essentially do the same thing. There's actually worse cards that do the same thing. To be
I
fair,
guess.
to be fair, because
But-
Torpor Orb does the same thing, right? And that's an
yeah, but
artifact.
it's an artifact
And that's even harder to get rid of than a fucking creature.
for the most part. Yes.
And
I've-
you
but
can
I-
still
I've-
play.
But I've played against a Torpor or a Torpor Orb and beat it because I had die triggers. If I don't have both of like see if you stop
I see.
ETBs then fine. If you stop die triggers then fine. But if you
Yeah.
stop both,
I
then
get it.
that's
I get
that's
it.
the problem.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like it.
Okay, we'll get removal, bitch.
I just have to wait until I draw it. Oh no!
Play the.
Guess you have to wait until you draw your artifact removal, your artifact based removal to destroy Iona.
Funny thing was that when Iona was first introduced to my life, was that one of these guys bought like the collection from the Vault of Angels. And then
Yeah.
he just stuck it. And he looked at my face and was like, "This is for you." And I'm like, "I don't get it." And then he played it right in the same game. And I was like reading the card. And I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And like, I say blue, and he's like, "Blue, what the fuck? Why are you being so horrible?" Like, fuck you, man. And then he said pass, and I'm like, "Well, I guess I do nothing." I went home that night. I started Googling colorless removal. People, I want you to understand that colorless removal back in the day was scarce. There was two that weren't artifacts. 'Cause
Unstable
artifacts, there's a
Obelisk
couple.
and what else?
No.
All
There
is
was
dust, maybe.
All is Dust, and I bought that card. I stuck it in my deck, and the other
Unstable
one was
Obelisk.
the
By the time the Angels came
Oh,
out,
no, wait,
Unstable
no,
Obelisk was a
there's
thing.
the 7-cost colorless artifact that just blows something up when it comes
Yes,
into battle.
and I played it as a mana rock.
Spine of Isha is
Isha, yeah.
No, I didn't play that one.
Either Ishtar
I
or
played
Ishtar.
Unstable Obelisk, but that's because it was in the deck. Like that was, I think, one of those freebies. The other card I got was the common one that came in one of the Zendikar sets. It's the 7-costed exile target permanent. I believe it's called.
Yes, that came in Battle for Zendikar.
Yes,
Exile target, exile
it's
target permanent for
horrible
7
because
mana.
it's 7 stupid mana. But I'm thinking to myself, I don't have anything else, so I stuck both.
Unstable Obelisk is a 3 mana artifact that adds 1 mana, but then you can pay 7 mana to tap it, sacrifice it, and destroy target permanent.
And I stuck that one too. But it was a mana rock, so it was beneficial to me. I didn't have a lot of artifacts, so I just because it didn't occur to me to get artifacts that remove stuff on the spot, even though that's also rare too.
Yes.
So I just stuck those.
The other one I can think of is Universal Solvent.
Yeah.
And that's like 1 mana to play, but like 8 mana to activate and destroy target permanent.
Yep.
Or target non-land permanent.
Because Iona, I started appreciating colorless spells, both artifact and actual colorless spells. Thanks to Iona.
So Iona triggers you deeply.
Yes, to the point that, as you can see, my love for Urza is born out of my hatred for Iona. Because I realized blue is not enough. I need the colorless too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll agree to disagree on Iona.
Fine.
But Biorhythm though.
Okay.
I think Biorhythm should definitely be unbanned, but I don't know, people use it as much.
The biggest argument to not unbanning Biorhythm, especially now, is because all the ways you can cast it for free. That's the problem.
I see.
Well.
And I can agree. I want it unbanned, but that's a problem.
That's true.
Casting it for free is a problem, and you just kill people out of nowhere. Sure, I understand that you can just die out of nowhere from a bunch of stuff, but
it's kind of wipe the board, play a creature, cast the card, and it's over.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a legal Biorhythm right now. It's called Shaman of the Forgotten Ways. If you have Formidable, you can pay the 11 mana instead of 9, instead of 10. It's 9 green, and you tap him, and you just Biorhythm the board. It's legal.
Okay.
But it's not the same.
Yeah, you got to play more hoops to be able to get that back.
Yeah. The title says it all. Thanks to Modern Horizons, Modern is more expensive than ever.
Yes.
And this is a problem mostly stemming from the past few sets, not just Modern Horizons. The article mostly talks about Modern Horizons and Modern Horizons 2 and Modern Horizons, the original one. But the problem arises by several sets.
Go
most of the article just talks about how the price, how printing these specialty sets decreases the prices, and for the most part, that's the idea. And reprinting quality cards makes people want to buy more cards, and thus that reduces the cost. But the reduced cost and the buying the cards is only reliant on people playing the format, in this case being Modern. And the problem stemming from that as well is most of the good cards are at Mythic, or at least at a Mythic type rarity. So what I mean by that is when, let's say, Fatal Push, which is the most famous example. When Fatal Push was printed, it was basically a Mythic. Even though it says an uncommon, they seeded the packs in a way so you can only get a Fatal Push as if it were a Mythic, even though it was an uncommon.
Yes.
And that raised the price extremely high.
Yes, I remember.
So this is the same issue. Ragavan is used a lot. He's a Mythic. Renin 6 is used a lot. He's a Mythic. The Fetch lands are always used. it's a mythic. It's a
rare.
mythic type rarity. So it's rare. It's a rare, but in the same aspect as Fatal Push is an uncommon.
Mhm.
It's harder to actually acquire it if you
But
are
the article does argue that this is a good thing regardless. Like the reprinting of the fetches is good because it keeps lowering the price. But in comparison to fetches that have been reprinted a couple of times, even though it's been scarce, the amount of times it's been reprinted, it pales in comparison to these new cards because they've never reprinted. Obviously,
exactly,
because they're
Right.
and
fucking
and,
new.
The first
and the
time
price
they've been
just keeps
printed.
skyrocketing.
Yes, because they're really overpowered, and I agree with you. I know Seth only talked about Modern Horizons 1 and 2,
Oh, and
but
Ren and
let's not
6
kid
actually has
ourselves.
kept going up.
Modern
It
Masters.
actually hasn't had any dips in price. I just noticed.
No. There hasn't with the new cards. No dips. It just keeps. I mean, maybe Ren and
I
But
mean,
Six
the
that's
dipped
not
a
initial
even
little
dip,
bit.
the initial
the
dip.
newest.
Yeah.
That's from the first Modern Horizons, not even the second one,
Yeah.
which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what was I saying? I think
Uh,
there's a lot of power creeping going along. So there's a lot of other cards that have also spiked as well. Not as aggressively as a Rabigan, of course, but there's other elements being at play beyond Modern Horizons 1 and 2. I know they're
uh,
the main culprit, but you know.
yeah, but think of Modern Masters. When Modern Masters 1, then the 2015, then the 3, like
Mhm.
further down in the article, he shows a picture of Tarmogoyf.
Yeah.
Tarmogoyf, even though it's like not as expensive as it used to be, it was a culprit of this type of thing. You
Yes.
print it on Mythic, even though originally it was a rare,
Yep.
right? Then you just it is the way you acquire it is just harder, and the price at one point a foil
200.
Tarmogoyf, no, a foil one.
Oh, that's even
Yeah.
worse. That was like
Yeah,
what,
Yeah,
foil
400
don't you
probably.
remember those a problem in the LAGP?
Yeah.
It
I
was
do
like,
not
oh,
remember that
Goifgate
actually.
is basically a guy was drafting, and when you're drafting, there's two types of draft. I'm not sure of the other specific names. I haven't drafted in so long. There's like the picking draft, and then the what you pull and what you take is what you get.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I personally like when you pick afterwards, because that way
Yes.
you can
It's
build a
fair.
good good deck, play, try to win, and then take. Sorry, afterwards you pick
Yeah, you
when
pick in
you're
accordance to what your position on the leaderboard is,
exactly
Exactly.
uh,
rather than just like getting good cards because you picked them out of the pile
exactly
when they weren't
because
even good for your deck.
he was playing like I think blue white, and he pulled the foil Tarmogoyf. What do you do?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Just take the foil Tarmogoyf because that's good. Just that paid for that basically just pays for everything.
Yep.
Mhm.
It was worth at least 300 something at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
It's crazy, but it's just an example of how these prices, because you're printing these stuff at Mythic, and these are staples, things that are four of, like just used a lot,
Mhm.
and it's a problem.
Yep.
Just thinking on Solitude is like all
Elementals.
all the elemental incarnations are mythic as well, right? If I'm
Yep.
not mistaken.
They all are.
All of the elemental incarnations are mythics. I guess in this case, Grist isn't used, but
Mm,
Ragavan.
4 of them are used.
Grist is used, but it's like one deck in comparison to I've seen Ragavan in several different types of decks.
Yeah.
Ravagan?
Ragavan, yeah,
I mean, like the monkey.
the
Yeah,
monkey.
he's
No, I'm
just a
talking about
really
the
good
elements.
one drop
At least
too.
3 of them are heavily used.
Oh no! I'm talking about when I said Grist, I said the planeswalker.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, the elementals are used. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know the white one's the most used.
Mm-hmm.
The black one is used in the white black ephemerate type decks.
Yes.
The red one is actually used in the Cascade decks
And we
because
made
you
fun of
can.
the red one too. We were like,
We
it's
yeah no but
okay.
it is the worst one
Yeah.
technically.
But even then,
But
even
even
the
then,
worst one.
actually taking that back, in a way, the blue one's the worst one
Yes.
because it's actually the least used. Because I see the green one actually being used more.
Yep, I agree.
That's the
Always
elemental,
blue,
the
getting the
incarnation.
shaft.
No,
Never
but the
get
blue
the good
one's
cards.
it's so strong. It's
You
like arguably better than the red one, but the red
never
one just
gets
sees more
anything
play for
good.
some reason.
See, Watsy, you gotta print better blue cards because
No,
even
no,
that
that's not.
elemental did nothing for the format with blue.
No.
You just print a card that says "I win" and it costs 0.
I
And-
It's called Biorhythm. What do you mean?
instant speed.
It says Alejandro loses because he played instants and sorceries
I don't
and no
like that.
creatures.
I like when it says "I win." When Alejandro wins, not lose, win.
I just
Oh,
win.
God.
What does that card do? I win.
I win. Oh god, but yeah, you're right. And even though like the argument here at the end with Tarmogoyf was that it lowered in price, and people might be like, "We'll see because it got so much printings." No, it's because Junt is no longer a thing anymore. That's literally why. If Junt
Junt's a
becomes
thing. It's the most expensive deck in the format. Does it win?
exactly,
The most expensive deck in the format that doesn't
Exactly.
even get you any wins.
but if it
Does it
started to
win?
win, no, it doesn't win that much. Exactly, but if it
It doesn't.
started
It
to
doesn't.
win
It
more,
doesn't win.
doesn't win
Exactly,
at
it doesn't
all.
win.
It doesn't win.
It doesn't. But if it started to win again, you bet your ass that Tarmogoyf would shoot up again to like $50 to $100 again. So
Again.
that's saying
That's
it's
like
all
the best
irrelevant
part. Again.
again. But yeah, like these prices, man, are insane. Look at this, like $1,000, almost $1,400 for a modern deck. We've never seen this before. Even the Blitz deck, which is usually
I mean, we have seen that with Jund, but Jund is like the exception because
It's
a
the
$2,000 deck is
exactly, but most of these decks are hovering around the same price. Look at this, 1,500,
yeah.
1,300, and even Blitz, which usually was like the cheapo type of deck. Even this is already like $500. It's pretty
Yeah, because
ridiculous.
I bet you that it's running like 4 copies of Ravagan or some shit.
It is probably running it. Let me check. I haven't checked the. Oh, it's a
Like,
a
if it's-
picture. I'm such a dumbass. Let me check.
Nice.
Decks. Let's go ahead. Let's check MTG Goldfish for a second. Let's do a quick check of the decks. Popular submitted decks for metagames. Let's go modern. Whoop, modern. And let's
There we go, that
put not
was
easy
easy.
tempo because easy tempo is expensive as well. Look, even burn is like 4.5 too.
Really,
Where is?
Burn
Well,
sitting
let's
at
just
4.5.
take burn.
If I'm not mistaken, Burn was like at an average of at least 300 to 350, like back in the day. And
Yep. No, look at that. It's even more expensive. It's 562. It's
wow,
even more
that's what I was saying. Like back
Wow.
in the day, not like
yeah,
right now.
back. I know. It was like I almost have like
and
a
that's
burn
like
deck.
the expensive version of Burn because it had like all the fetches or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, it has Iron Mesa,
Does that one have the fetches in there? Yeah.
And the funny thing is now, the cons fetches, because they haven't been printed, now those shot up in price.
Yes.
So now the cheapest fetches you could always get and always rely on for Commander, you can't
Yep.
even get those anymore because those are the ones that shot up to high hell because
Yep,
everyone
you just gotta
realized,
get the new
well,
ones instead.
you gotta get the new. How ironic is that, man? We were always fighting for the enemy fetches, and now we need the ally fetches because those are the ones that haven't been printed in ages, and no one cared until they realized this haven't been printed in like what 6 years, 7 years, 8 years,
6 years.
6 years. Okay, we need to print them.
Around 6 years, yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I
Hey,
can
on
see
the
the
flip
secret
side-
layer
Actually, no.
happening.
Well, it's technically 7 because technically it was in cons,
Yeah.
and that's 2014. That's
Okay.
like September
So it's 7.
2014. Rather, yeah.
So 7 years, we're gonna see a secret layer of these ally fetches. Oh my god, why? And then I guess it'll be in Modern Horizons 3. Yay!
It's a never-ending cycle. Oh
The funny
no!
thing is, it's all for a format that WotC doesn't care at all about. It's so
Hey.
fascinating.
But they might though, because money, because this makes more sense now.
But
Don't
do
you think?
they? Because they just sell you all these sets. They don't need to do tournaments because clearly they see this as a waste of money doing the tournaments. I mean, because they keep printing these and people just keep buying the paper like us. We're idiots. I'm an idiot. I keep buying paper. Even though I like Commander, but I keep buying paper because all these cards in the new sets, I need them. I need fetches. I need I wish I could buy a Ravagan to stick it in some deck, but I can't because that's for me. Ravagan $80 is unjustifiable. It's way too expensive.
For the most part, you kind of did this on Ragavan when we were talking about the modern spoilers.
Yeah,
You said like, "Why is this so expensive?" Like, I don't understand. Subtlety is much better.
yeah.
It
I
was
mean, I
like,
get it. I get it now. I've seen a lot of gameplay to justify his existence. I get it, but at $80, it's so insane. It's so I mean, I get it. It's because it's a mythic and everyone wants it. But I was thinking like, oh, it'd be cool as a commander. Well, no joke,
Look
because
at
it's
that.
literally the best commander ever
On the
for
flip
red.
side,
no,
Tron
no,
is
yeah,
like
the,
is pretty cheap.
one of
Right?
the
Sitting at
best.
Oh yeah, definitely.
598. Wow, that's like a
Which
hard
one?
sentence
What?
to say. Tron is like relatively cheap
True.
when you
Tron is
compare it to the
so
rest of
cheap
the
now.
decks. Yeah, because wasn't that like averaging at like 900 or 800
That
bucks?
is true. And now
Oh no,
it's
never
like
mind.
what?
I actually went into the deck list and now it went like up to 900. Never mind. Yeah, I said
Never mind.
900. My bad.
Never mind. Yeah, $1,000.
It depends on the build
It's
you do.
fine. It's
I
fine. It's
assume
just
that
a.
it
It's
depends on
just
the build,
a.
but
It's just a kidney.
oh wow, yeah, because you need 4 copies of Force of Vigor. That's
There
just
you
your
go.
sideboard. That's kind of
Yeah.
insane. That's just
Yeah,
your
it is.
sideboard.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah,
Jeez,
man.
That
there's
card
like
shot up in price.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And
Sure
Force of
did.
yeah. Force
Negation.
of, Force of Vigor was like well,
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't like garbage in price or anything, but it definitely wasn't that high in price. Like
No,
I
it
got
wasn't.
mine for like
wow,
$6.
Yeah, I have a Force of Vigor too.
lucky you,
It's
man.
like stuck in a box somewhere.
I sold the one that I got like for hella cheap because I'm like, oh well, I guess this isn't gonna go up in price anytime soon.
When you have a free spell,
Yeah,
they always go up, no
they
matter how
always.
horrible it is. But yeah, Force of Vigor, yeah, it's insane. It's insanely expensive. Wow, so surprised. How many copies is that?
It's four. It's four. That's
So
why it's
25
$96.
bucks. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I mean, I get it. And it has Sundering because it needs Sundering right
No,
now.
that's a cheaper card.
No, it is, but it's something they need because they all had to like
Hit on
readjust
mana
to the
basis.
current
Yeah.
meta. Yeah.
Yeah. Too many greedy mana
Even
bases.
Expedition
Mhm.
map is like it's more expensive than I would expect it to be,
Yeah.
even though it's just like a
Yeah.
huh.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Yep.
at least Eugene like went down in price. That's always a good thing. Can't wait
It
for
is.
Karn Liberated to get reprinted somewhere, somehow, some way. Just reprint 'em,
True, it shot up again.
please.
Huh. I
Yes.
bought mine when it got cheap again. When they reprinted it last time, I think it was Double Masters.
Yeah, I can't
Was it
wait
Double
to get my
Masters?
hands on one.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, because they got the extended borderless one. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's
Um,
like any bright side, like looking at like some of the
No.
decks
No.
here, but
No.
I
This
just
is all
don't
this is
see
all
anything
this is
that
all
isn't
dire and
basically.
horrible. It's just gonna get
Okay,
worse.
wait.
and-
All right, hold on. We got
Okay.
Burn. What do we got in Burn? What do we got? Let's see. Come on, Burn's cheap, right? 500.
It's only cheap because they haven't put a Ravagan on there, and they should. I don't know why. I get why, because
It's too
obviously
slow.
it's too slow. It is
It's
honestly.
it's
too slow.
it's hilarious that a 1 mana 2/1
versus
is too
the
slow.
Goblin Guide, which the Burn
Of
deck is
course,
running?
because the stupid Goblin Guy has haste. You
Yeah,
don't
Oh
care
two,
about
two.
giving them a
Ravagan doesn't have
land.
haste? No way.
No,
it has
Ragavan does not
dash.
have haste.
It has.
I keep
Thank
saying
God it doesn't.
Ravagan, it's
You want it
Ragavan,
to
but
have
yeah.
haste as well. It
Yes,
technically
yes, I do.
does.
I do.
In
I
a
need it
way.
to have haste.
Yeah,
No, you
yes,
don't.
no way. No, it's fine. It has dash, and that's already a crime against humanity. Let's keep it that way.
Doesn't it dash for 1 though, or is it dash for 2?
2 mana.
It's
2
dash
mana.
for 2. If it was
Okay.
dash for 1, that would be the most insane thing
Because
ever.
I think it would have been cool if it would have been like 2 to like cast and dash for 1. Yes.
It's so not cool.
Spicy. Yes, it's so good, Orengo. Come
No,
on.
it's not good. No. Oh. Turn
Oh,
1,
God.
I hit you. I get a free card. I get a free mana. Let me see if I can cast your free shit. Oh, I can't.
man.
Okay, I screwed your top deck anyway. So
I
win.
saw the deck list and I want to play Modern so bad again. I used to
Oh,
play like
no.
Burn without the white. I used to have all the red spells for Burn. I was
You know,
missing a skull crack,
the
but
funny thing is, a lot of a lot of content creators, they don't buy decks anymore. They don't buy cards. What they do is just rent out decks. They rent out cards because it's gotten to the point it's so expensive. And these are content creators, which they
Yeah.
have the money to buy the cards. But I
Theoretically.
remember, I think it was Pleasant Kenobi when he was ranting about Mtgo and how expensive Ramagan is online, because we cry about it in paper, but online is even worse.
wait,
because-
really?
Yeah, Ramagan is $97 online. And paper is 80.
He's $97. He is.
And it's 97 ticks online. It
Yo,
went
hold
up
on.
because when
so
he did the rant, it was like $70.
so I'm assuming so the prices in MTGO actually went up because
Yes.
I remember the whole deal being like back in the day, I guess you can say, before the days of Arena.
Yeah.
It was that, usually it was cheaper to play Magic online.
Yeah, you can buy like a Black Lotus for like $1. You got
Yeah.
you Black Lotus for like $1. You can buy a Tropical Island for like $2 because it's been reprinted to hell. But these new cards, they only have the one printing, and the drafts to get in are very expensive. Like Pleasant Kenobi, I believe, did a whole video on this. He was explaining why Ravagan is so expensive because the means to get it is so ridiculous because it's either buying boosters, getting into drafts, or sealed events. But the sealed and draft events are so ridiculously expensive. They cost so many ticks. And the little trunk reward thing you get at the end of challenges, there has a percentage you might get some of those things, but it's not that high. So in the
I see.
necessity of getting all these brand new cards, there's not a lot in the pool of MTGO. So that's why they're so expensive. So even when you want to rent them out, people just opt to rent them out. But the renting places, to say like the name of whatever, the renting places, they don't have enough Ravagans to go around. So you might be like, oh, I want to play like this is a Blitz deck. And you'd be like, I can only rent out half the deck because the other cards literally aren't on. I think it's like Trade MTGO. I think that's the page, or MTGO Traders. And then you're like, I can't play. And it's like when you go to Blockbuster, you wanted to get like the new movies, and you couldn't because they'll always be like rented out. You have to get like a crappy old freaking movie. Same thing. You get old crappy cards because there's so many of them, but the new shiny ones you can't because it's always being rented out all the time.
I have a question. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of off topic, but at the same time related to the topic because does MTGO have the secret lair cards?
Yes.
Yes. So it has the Walking Dead ones, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
So when Universe Beyond starts dropping different things, will those be in MTGO? Will those affect the market?
That's a good question.
Very interesting.
But
Actually,
I mean, it
speaking
wouldn't
of
be
Universes
legal
Beyond,
to play
have
anywhere,
we-
and I'm pretty sure you can stop that in the MTGO deck. You can code that very quickly.
They'd be legal in Commander, no?
Exacto. That'd be the only place it would be legal.
Okay, because I was thinking mostly because recently there was an article that said that non Magic IPs won't be in like standard sets anymore. So even though D&D, like Dungeons and Dragons, is now technically canon, they still consider it a non-Magic IP. So I don't think there's going to have any more sets, even though they said they wanted to use like dungeon mechanic. Maybe D&D is like an exception because it's technically part of they're interconnected. Like Magic the Gathering books are in D&D, and D&D is now in Magic the Gathering. So maybe that's like the exception. But for the general part, I'm just kind of it's just interesting. No more Magic, like no more standard non-Magic IPs standard, and will that affect in like MTGO or Arena? Arena doesn't have those, right?
No, you get the sleeves.
You can have the Rick as a sleeve.
I think you can because I know that so every secret lair, I believe, has a code, if I'm not mistaken. Because when I bought the Certain Visions, they had the code. There's a code for sleeves on MTG Arena, and for MTGO, you get a copy of the cards. That's how you get them in online. Either you buy them from someone else, you buy them yourself, or you get them in the chests, I believe, because there's no other way to get like secret lair cards.
That's just, I guess that's a problem as well. If you want to use any of the secret lair cards, like the exclusive secret lair cards, it's just another problem. Not just a problem in like paper Magic, but it's also probably even worse in MTGO.
But they're probably not that expensive because there's so many variations of like say Athalia or like the actual
something
playables.
like the exclusive cards.
Yeah, exclusive cards might be a problem. I don't know how high they shot up because thankfully the one card that made a splash in Legacy wasn't that big of a splash, so we haven't dealt with this problem exactly. But we might get to that day one day.
Rick was the only problem. Even if you try to use it as in Commander, Rick is just a problem.
Mm-hmm.
They made him too strong.
But it never shot up ridiculously.
No.
So, but might come the day when one of these cards for maybe Commander Online, even though it's really not a thing. They don't even have like challenges for Commander Online, so there's no competitive format there. So it will never be
for fun.
Yep. but hopefully they don't put like a Optimus Prime in Legacy or something ridiculous again, because you never know.
That
It's like,
would
oh,
be fantastic.
you can transform your cards one time for free, and then you have a bunch of freaking werewolves and stuff just
There's
flipping.
like Transformers.
Yeah.
There's like, oh, you cast the one that prevents damage and flips werewolves, and then
Yeah.
flip them again and just start doing the effects over. Imagine Huntmaster of the Fells. It's just, I make a 2/2, I gain 2 life, I deal 2 damage, I kill your stuff.
Yep.
It's just
I can see that happen.
that's funny.
I can see that happen. Well, anything
Yeah.
else you guys like to add?
That's for the most part. It's been a hectic week for me. Magic has been quite quiet and
Thank God.
surprising. No spoilers.
I'm very
We got
surprised.
we got a
made
break.
it. 1 week.
This
One
is
week
it.
with no spoilers.
But that means spoiler season ended, and now we're gonna get the spoiler season. It's gonna start.
Spoiler season part 2 Electric Boogaloo coming out.
No.
We're gonna see that kid from game nights in a stupid video of Magic. It's gonna be like 20-minute video where he's like in a cave or something, and there's gonna be werewolves. He's gonna be screaming for 5 minutes, and then watching a freaking TV screen, be like, "Hey, save me!" It's like, well, I'm gonna save you with this new transform card. It's a planeswalker that transforms into a freaking creature. Whoa! Oh no! It's just gonna be that for 10 minutes. Oh god, I can't wait. It's gonna be a cringe video, because there's always a cringe video. Well, let's speculate for a second of that. Like, obviously, Transform is coming. Do you think anything else is coming that it might be like something we know?
I'm not sure if they're gonna reuse mechanics. If they're gonna reuse mechanics from old Innistrad sets, Morbid was a mechanic they used.
What they've done recently for like the other like taking like sets that take place in a plane that we visited before.
They reuse one, maybe 2 mechanics at maximum.
Exactly.
But like Morbid is a mechanic, so Morbid is when if something dies, then if your creature either entered or just a Morbid trigger, so something has to die for the Morbid trigger to activate. The other effect that comes to mind is Delirium, and Delirium is actually quite like it was used for Dragon Ray Channeler in Modern Horizons. It technically, because of the flavor, it doesn't make any sense for the most part, but I guess it makes sense because it becomes delirious and gets +2/+2 and has to attack. I guess that makes but the Delirium was mostly tied to what the Eldrazi were doing on the plane. And as mentioned, there will be no Eldrazi and no direct connection. So there might be references to that Emrakul is still trapped in the moon. But
they gotta do it. I feel like it's something that they gotta do. They gotta do that reference, definitely.
Yeah, that might do a reference card with that,
so
but it might be in the next one in the Vampire set. No?
Have
I
we
want to know
confirmed that chronologically this is going to be like after the events like that the Gatewatch went through, or is this going to be like going back into the past? History
I don't think we have. It's probably like afterwards, mostly because champion of the parish is dead. Because he was champion of the perished, and now he's the perished. So it's afterwards. Mostly speaking, so other than Morbid and Delirium, there's no clues. No clues. Clues were again tied to the reveal to the Eldrazi.
Yeah.
Was it Madness in
Madness
also tied to the Eldrazi? No?
To the Eldrazi. That was in Shadows over Innistrad. Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind. Because I was thinking maybe like some kind of blood madness, I suppose, like some kind of like blood rush type of deal or something.
Yeah.
Like like being like mad with like bloodlust or something, and part of like the vampires, I guess. But
if they're gonna use any of the mechanics, Morbid is probably the safest pick.
I am excited.
Something dies. This happens.
How like lore wise, the balance in between like humans and monsters was affected on the plane of Innistrad, especially because since all the angels died.
Yeah.
Basically.
Heavily.
So also because if you don't if you're not caught up to like Innistrad lore, The Markov family was basically the ones saying like, okay, we're vampires and we need blood, but if we just eat, we just kind of kill all the humans and then we die
like a bunch
afterwards.
of insatiable gorgers.
Yeah.
Haha.
So he made Avacyn to protect the humans, so they could selectively take some, while also protecting them from just outright dying and just
Yeah, just keep
which is why people
Yeah, like-
a lot of the vampires hated Markov for doing that. It's like
Okay.
in the lore they don't like him.
Yeah. But if
so-
I'm not mistaken, Soren is now like petrified, no? Or what?
No,
to him?
Soren escaped the petrification, fought Nahiri in
Yeah,
the War of the Sparks, and they kind of just batted each other, and it was just like a stalemate afterwards.
Yes, I remember.
I don't know. I don't know the story of what happens in Zendikar Rising because Nahiri is there. But Soren, I don't know where Soren is. Soren might appear again. It's probably it's very
More than
likely.
Very likely.
More than likely.
I mean, I feel
Probably
like you
like
can't have, Innistrad set without Soren in there, at least like in like a
True,
mentioned
they-
happening kind
yeah.
of deal. Like, he's kind of iconic to the plane. It'd be ridiculous not to have him. At least
Definitely.
at the very least, like a card that references him at the least.
Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of references to him, at least in the vampire set.
Definitely.
But for the most part, he's MIA. He should be fine for the most part, yeah.
I wonder how the rest of the Markov family is like handling in his absence. However, Kinda
Probably
interesting.
fine. It's mostly just the dissenters, the people who the vampires that rose up and fought against the Eldrazi, led by Olivia.
Olivia Voldaren, yes.
Yeah, Olivia is a very relevant character. But we're probably going to see a lot more of her.
That's probably true in the vampire
yeah.
set.
The vampire said that she's going to be there. She's always been red black.
Are both
I'm
sets coming out?
expecting red black legendary based
Are
on
they
Olivia.
releasing werewolves first?
They're releasing werewolves first. That is correct. So because of these speculations, we know more about the vampires. But Ardencord, that's probably going to appear as a if you're gonna get made, we're probably gonna I'm thinking 2 planeswalkers per set.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get Red and 7.
Yeah.
And then Ardencord.
Yes.
And in the next one, we're gonna get maybe probably Soren, and maybe another one, another new one. Be interesting to see a new planeswalker from Innistrad or based on Innistrad.
Oh, you know who they could probably use? What's this guy's name? They actually printed a new card for that weird historic thing that they want to do for Arena now. What's his name? Davriel, I think it is.
Oh yeah, they're real. Okay.
Davriel might be.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I know that there's a whole book centered around him, or at least there was a story about him.
There's a lot of stories. Yes,
Yes.
I know about the
So
stories.
it'd be great to finally see a good Davriel Planeswalker in the set. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Seeing
I
any
can
of
see
the
that.
War of the Forest planeswalkers that were never addressed properly.
Oh, true.
There was actually multiple planeswalkers from the plane of Innistrad that haven't been addressed properly, if I recall correctly.
There's none that stick out immediately.
There's, at the very least, there's Davriel and whoever he had beef with in the plane, because I know that he, the whole story of Davriel, he had beef with some girl that also turns out to be a planeswalker, I think. So that'll be fun.
These are good options. I'm kind of just interested in what happens to like you said, what happens with the humans. I want to see I know they're going to be human and human werewolves. I just want to see what happens with the humans, with just plain old humans.
See if they either if the vampires either tried to kill them all off, or if the werewolves also try to pick at them as well. But who knows what's going on there?
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty
okay.
excited for that part of the story.
So I'm looking up the old Innistrad mechanics from original Innistrad. Obviously, it was the first time that double face cards were introduced. So you bet your bottom dollar we're gonna see double face cards happening here
So
because
it's
Wizards loves the shit out of them.
Flashback was a thing.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna mention flashback because
Yeah,
Snapcaster Mage. So
yes.
what if we get a better Snapcaster Mage that has haste and does it twice or something? I don't know. Like,
But it's red.
sure, I'll take it. I'll put it in a deck,
To be
man. I
honest,
just
that
want
sounds-
something.
that sounds
I
Actually,
just
no,
want
no.
one.
What am I
That
thinking?
sounds kind of
It's
fun.
gonna be
A
green.
red Snapcaster Mage sounds really
Sure, it
fun.
should be green.
It's gonna be green.
Oh no.
It's gonna be green.
He's gonna bring back a permanent from the play. You have pay
Oh
0
my
mana.
god, it's gonna flashback a permanent. And
Yes.
it can bypass law, so it can do like instant speed, no problem.
Yes, of course. Instant
Yeah.
speed a permanent into
That's
Yes.
how you may cast that
Yeah.
card. That card gains flash.
He's basically regrowth, but better. So much
Yes.
better. Ah, my god.
Like regrowth. It's like one in a green.
JD, we did
It's gonna be
yes.
what?
Flashback permanents. They
Yeah, one-
used to do it with instants and sorceries, so now it's flashback permanents.
Yeah, one in a green. It's a two. It's gonna be a 2/2 or two. No, it's actually gonna be a 2/3. See,
Yes.
it's just like
Yes, of course.
2/3. It's gonna have flash. and it
make
just
sure you
flashbacks
can't-
a permanent
you can't, like take
for
it
free.
out like something. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Great.
It's just gonna, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Sounds fair to me. I mean, it's
100% fair.
okay. It's not gonna break anything.
Yeah.
One mana. Just make it one mana. It's fine. Balance.
No,
There you go.
Let's make it a little fair. Let's wait till turn 2.
Oh, okay. You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
Turn one is
Yeah, because you want to entomb turn 1.
Ah, look at that.
Oh my god. Yeah, I can see flashback happening, even though they've been very adamant about re-including flashback again. But knowing Wizards, if they want to print money, they did fight mechanic too. Even though they've done fight mechanics up till recently, so it's not like
No.
new
They've
thing
been
anymore.
using fight a lot. I feel like
They do fight a lot. That's it. That was all the original ones. It was fight,
Morbid,
double-
flashback, and
fight and double face cards and transform,
And-
of course.
and so transform is definitely gonna be a thing. Flashback might be a thing. In Shadows over Innistrad, it was Delirium, Clues,
It'd be awesome if they brought. I know clues make no sense, but it'd be cool if they did. Clues.
Madness,
maybe there's something
Food.
else. Find
Food
out.
tokens might be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Considering Tireless Provisioner,
Yeah.
a card that was printed in Modern Horizons is a throwback to Tireless Tracker.
Yeah.
And it's like at first like she was looking for something, but now she's just trying to find shelter.
You know, it would be really fun.
So trying to gather food and treasure.
It'd be really fun to have like a vampire that like can use humans as like foods. I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
Yes. Red, black, sacrifice humans. Oof.
Sacrifice a human and then make a food token.
Make a food token.
Yeah, that doesn't sound abusable at all. I'm no brewer, but I'm pretty sure that there's a modern deck already with its name on it.
What do you mean?
What do you
No,
mean?
it's fine.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
No, it's
I
nothing. It's
I
not
would
that broken.
definitely like that though, just for flavor purposes. Come on, give me a vampire that
No.
eats humans
Stop it.
specifically, please.
Stop it. That's why you don't work in Wizards.
You sacrifice a creature. There, it's easier. It's
Yeah. Sacrifice
Just-
a creature. Oh,
Oh, I don't want
such a
it.
difficult,
I
such a
want
difficult
it-
thing to do.
I want it to be with humans specifically. I want food humans.
My God.
Humans.
No, let's
Hu-
no. This is it. No, this is over. It's over now.
Humans and humans.
what's the set after the vampires one? This hasn't been revealed.
Shoot, I don't know. That's a good one. I haven't even bothered to check because I'm so burnt.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had just like this downtime. We can just try to actually
Yeah.
discuss stuff.
Yeah, and like critique other stuff that it's not like constant sets coming and barraging us over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a while, but I believe I don't know. I sincerely have no clue what comes after it
I don't think
because
it has a name. Yeah.
they probably doesn't because I think they did it up until Innistrad. I think that's why we
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm looking at. Yeah. That's
No
all that
name?
I-
Okay, so I guess they're waiting
It
for
probably
next
has
year.
a project. It probably
to
has
give
a
you-
project name.
You know when
Like-
Kevin Feige comes out every Comic Con and he gives you like the timeline of the new movies? It's gonna be like WotC in January 1st. We're gonna be like, guys, don't worry. You got your vampires? It's okay. Keep them packed fresh. Look at all these new sets coming. We're going return to Dominaria and we're going back to Legends.
Man, I don't
Remember
want to go back to
Legends?
Dominaria again. Like
Cyberpunk
I
Kamigawa.
like
Cyberpunk. Right, that's the other one. That
No,
is the
that,
one.
that was just a.
was a rumor?
That was a rumor.
I feel
Yeah.
like we're
That-
going to
that's just
Kamigawa
sick, though.
eventually, though. Maybe
Yeah,
not
no, but
Cyberpunk.
like Cyberpunk is on Kamigawa. No,
That
But I know
Maybe-
that Kamigawa is a thing, though. We're
Kamigawa
probably
might
going-
be a thing.
Yeah, might be. It's more than likely. I feel like in this the weird Morrow scale, I think it's very likely that we're getting to that point.
I'm pretty sure they like Maro specifically doesn't like that set, just like Lorwyn.
Oh, but
He
it's not
doesn't
up
like
to
that
him
set either.
anymore.
What?
But it's
He
not up
doesn't
to
like
him
Lorwyn?
anymore.
Are you
It's not. What do you mean?
It doesn't feel like it is up to him anymore, based on current decisions.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
has had to flip flop a lot in his opinion, and I know opinions
Yes.
change over time. But
True.
he's so firm in so other things. It's weird that he flip flops on certain things that seem to be out of his control. Like for example, the whole IP thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think there's just some things that might be out of his control. Like I feel like if Hasbro is like, okay, you're appealing to the nostalgia, so go back to Kamigawa because people like Kamigawa. Even though it was a shit set in terms of power level, people like Kamigawa. So people they might be like, okay, we're going to go back to Kamigawa. We might go back to Dominaria for the sake of being like a very
People
You know,
were
it's
talking
a
about
step-
like flashback type Dominaria, like not current Dominaria, as in what happened
Old school.
after, like what happened after the Phyrexians were destroyed,
Mhm.
where like Wrath was destroyed and like the Phyrexia was destroyed,
Yeah.
but before whatever happens in the last set of Dominaria, like that period of time, because there was a lot of people were talking about how like Yawgmoth just dying left a vacuum in power in the entire area,
Mhm.
and what he was before, like in Dran, that all that type of stuff, left an area of exploration. Like you could just add new characters and explore old characters as well. Because I know there's old characters based on that, but they weren't really explored further. I remember people talking about that.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. I know
'Cause,
people like to go, but people would like to go back to Dominaria because I've seen it like in Reddit posts and stuff. I've seen that be a thing, and it has been. It's one of those sets that made a shit ton of money for Wizards, so they must be aware that it's a set that people might like to go back to. When you said flashback, I wasn't thinking of like the period after what happened. I was thinking when you said flashback, it's like olden times, like when Dominaria first came, like having a Teferi that's a creature. That's what I was thinking when you said flashback Dominaria.
I mean, by
Which-
then Teferi would have been a creature.
Okay, well, that could be something interesting because I know people would like to have a Teferi creature again. That's the thing,
Uh,
you know. Or one of those flip things like Jace, where he flips into a planeswalker.
That'd be sick.
exploring,
Right?
Back to, like,
but
origins
also
mechanics.
exploring like sets or like planes that have been hinted at or
Mhm.
talked about a lot, but
Okay.
we've just never gone to.
I also
One is
like,
Vryn,
mhm.
Jace's home plane. Vryn,
Oh, okay.
Chandelar. We've talked like Magic's his like in the entire lore. By lore, we've gone to Chandelar like 5 times,
Mhm.
but not like there's no set in Chandelar.
Yeah.
Like the chain bell was in Chandelar.
Mhm.
In M15, we got the soul of Chandelar. We just don't have
For that.
a Chandelar set, which is just interesting to me. Like that's where Garuk got his curse.
Okay.
Didn't understand? Maybe like if we go to Chandelar now that Garuk's free, he could be like atoning for his past sins after killing I don't know how many million planeswalkers he I don't know. We don't know how many people he killed while he was
Before
cursed.
He got like screwed over. Not screwed over. Just
He
liberated
got
from
cursed.
curse
Yeah.
over.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, he was
but to be,
killing gingerbread cookie man's. last
no,
time.
like he actually, like no, but like before that, he was like
Oh.
while he was chasing Liliana, he was like, "You're a planeswalker. Do you know where Liliana is? No, Merc just kills the. Yeah, he
Okay,
just
Yeah.
you just die. That's why a lot of people were like when they were like power scaling Garuk with Nicol Bolas, people thought that Garuk could take on Nicol Bolas. Mostly because the lore just mentions him killing planeswalkers, like just killing them left and right. So of course we were very wrong considering the Nicol Bolas's power level eventually, but the curse just made like that's just the impression he left on us.
Mm.
Mhm.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, no, I think that like everyone got like really got a perspective of what Nicol Bolas's power was really like, especially after he left the plane of Amonkhet. Once he like we got like that shiny new God Pharaoh card, and then like lore wise,
God
just really
Pharaoh wasn't
became
that
this,
like Dragon God made me realize, oh,
oh no,
he
my
can just
bad.
do
Dragon
everything.
God was Dragon God. That's what I was thinking about. My bad.
Because God Pharaoh was in Amonkhet.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Dragon God card, and then it just kind of puts into perspective not just because of like the text of the card, but what the description of what he was doing in the plane of Ravnica was. Sure, there was also a huge factor of like the stuff he had already fabricated. Like he made the Army of the Eternals, which was already kind of like like a prefabricated thing. Bringing
Mhm.
a whole army over was more Tezzeret's doing because of how he took in the extraplanar bridge into his body, I think it was, or whatever. But the fact that I think that one thing that is even more impressive than Nicol Bolas's like magical power in terms of magic lore is also like the amount of influence he had over people in the story, and how much his like power just branched out into like an interplanar scale. Like that to me was like the most amazing and like impressive thing about Nicol Bolas as a character.
Which makes me kind of excited to see what else, like in the Magic lore, what else do they have planned? Because this whole Nicol Bolas thing until War of the Sparks was like a big years long
Yeah, no, and
endeavor,
I feel
and
like
then now like they're done with that. They said they wanted a break from that, like just kind of like after around I think it was like Tempest or Apocalypse, where I think it's Apocalypse where Yakmoth died.
mhm.
Uh, then there was just like a period where Magic was just throwing sets, but there's lore on the sets, and we're just exploring the sets, but there's nothing like a big baddie. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
then
There's no BB.
once the planeswalkers were like as planeswalker cards, that's where the story kind of starts picking up, and then they had Nicol Bolas, and everything just started from there.
Well,
And I'm
let's think
sure,
about it this way. I mean, first
Mhm.
we had Yawgmoth, which was like the first big baddie that we got in Magic, and he was basically like a dude, like a planeswalker that was pretty much trying to become a god,
no, he was a
right?
god.
And like, well, yeah,
He was
he
a
was a
god.
god at that point. Um, and then next on we have Nicol Bolas, which was an elder dragon, who was pretty much a god as well. So I guess that my next question is, what, like in your opinion of what we like our knowledge of magic, our collective knowledge of magic lore, do you think could be like the next like magic baddie, not in terms of necessarily like the character itself, but like his position in the magic like universe or
Okay,
lore? Meaning, like, for
so
example, the first guy was like, Yawgmoth and like his position in like the magic world, and then you have like Nicol Bolas, which was an elder dragon.
so Nicol Bolas was like hinted at through legends, like very old sets, right?
Hmm.
And while Yawgmoth was like the main baddie. What other like something that's been hinted at while Nicol Bolas has been the main baddie?
Hyrexians.
The Eldrazi.
Yeah, I thought the
Eldrazi.
same thing, like the Emrakul, no? Or like the other one, Olamog.
Remember what Ugin said. We are like it's like looking into a bottomless pond. We don't know how deep it is.
Hmm.
And the first things we took out that from the Blind Eternities was like Emrakul, Ulamog, and Kozilek.
Hmm.
But
Oh, you're saying
we
there's a
we don't
bigger.
there's a bigger fish.
I
There's a
mean,
bigger
I also
fish.
feel like the
And that kind
birds.
of that type of setup, like okay, you set up that Emrakul is like, oh, this is the big fish, but then there's a bigger fish.
There's always a bigger fish.
So there's always a bigger fish. So you start setting that up, and the big like you can just call it the multiversal, like the multiverse crisis, where all the multiverses, all the planes are being attacked simultaneously by Eldrazi at the same time. That can bring everyone together
Yeah, then you
to
have to
fight
go
it
like
out. That could be like the
playing
really
jumping
really
through like
big
sets and
baddie.
stuff, chasing after the Eldrazi.
Yeah, but like that's just that's just entire speculation. Right now we're in
I
the
mean,
period, like we are in the
anything
period
about
of
like
like
Kaya's
rest.
powers is supposed to be like canon. I guess you could now have like Kaya trying to take people that aren't planeswalkers around the planes, which would be a little weird, to say the least, in terms of lore.
But yeah, and like we're in the point of rest. We don't know what's coming next. I'm pretty sure they don't know what's coming next. They just kind of they're just probably just in like they might be starting to understand what story they could, they have the next basically 2 years is around what they work at, around the pace they work at. So they have around the next 2 years of planes and products and sets. So they might be like right now starting to see, okay, maybe we can add these characters and start building a cohesive story that interconnects them eventually, just like they did in the first part of Magic. This will be like the second part of Magic, and would there be a third, maybe a fourth, maybe a fifth? I don't know.
I can see the Eldrazi being a thing because I do remember, and they keep doing this. They keep telling you that Eldrazi is not going to be an X set. Like when we went to Zendikar, I believe they said the same thing. They're like, don't worry, there's no Eldrazi here. And now they're doing it with Innistrad. It's like in Innistrad, there's no Eldrazi, so don't expect them here. So they're aware here.
Don't expect it here. It's like you're
they've
expecting
done
them
this
elsewhere.
twice or
Well,
three
there's a
times
chance.
already in the sets that we've had as a break. People have been with the expectation, okay, we're going to see Eldrazi again, but they're like, no, you're not going to see it here yet. So I think that JP
what
might
do you
have
mean
a point.
yet? It's like,
So I think JP has a point that Eldrazi might be a thing. I didn't think there would
What
be
if we
something
get
bigger than
Phyrexia and
Emrakul.
Eldrazi like
Ugin mentioned
be.
that it's like there's stuff bigger than Emrakul.
Okay. So it's gonna be like 20 mana. It might as well just say do 20 damage to your face and you just insta win. It has to be something ridiculous. Like
It has to like
justify it.
like 20 mana, discard your hand, exile your library.
Yeah,
Play
it has
it.
to be something ridiculous. I take your next turn. Oh, I die. I lose.
If you would lose the game, you win.
Oh, I like that. Just a vomit of text. Just a vomit of effects. I love it.
Trample, haze, protection from everything.
I can see the
flying
because they keep saying every so often they're not gonna be here. They're not gonna be here. So they are aware that people want to see them, and they are aware that they are a thing. I am with JP. I don't think they have a cohesive plan yet. They might have the inklings of what they want to do.
Yeah, I was starting.
But they might be taking the quote unquote break because the exploration of different planes allows them to be a bit more free with creativity, with the planes that they go to, nostalgia purposes, because they can just be like, we're going to Zendikar. Why? Because fuck you, money.
You just gave me a great idea.
Okay.
So what if the Phyrexians start like rising up really fast, and then the Eldrazi come in, and then you just have Phyrexian versus Eldrazi?
That's what Chris suggested. The Phyrexians as the other
I was
baddies.
actually
but Phyrexians versus
them being,
Eldrazi.
That'd be a cool
rather than versus. Because what I think is interesting about both of these factions is that they both kind of do the same thing when you think about it. Like they kind of like they like. I know they don't do the same thing, but I see like
Phyrexians is eugenics, and Eldrazi is consuming.
Yes,
just everything.
But if you think about it, what they do in essence and like mechanically, they just they just zombify shit. They just keep going on.
In a way, yeah, that makes sense.
What if it would
be interesting to either see these two things either combine or even be against each other?
That's what I was gonna say. Let's do both. They fight first, and then there's a set where they combine. Like one eats the other, and they become a huge mutation of both.
That would literally be
that
the
makes
biggest
sense
threat to the multiverse,
to an extent,
ever.
Because I think the hubris of the Phyrexians would be like, oh, there's a power greater than, like, there's a organic power greater than us. Then let's try to assimilate it. They try to assimilate and robify Eldrazi's, and then they can't. And the hubris is like, now you have Eldrazi's against you. That feels more in line.
That's interesting. I like
WotC, and WotC has had the idea of fusing because remember the cards.
Yes. There's
the sliver.
The sliver.
The sliver Eldrazi thing. So they already thought of this, of the whole thing of fusing tribes.
I don't think we've ever mentioned that before. Bringing back slivers. I mean, maybe we did. But bringing
they're-
back
It's a
they're-
thing. It's a thing they're probably holding to their life for the perfect moment to unleash. Again.
Slivers is like this little pet creature within them that can just use in any plane. They're just everywhere.
That's a good.
It's fine.
It's a good sell. It's a good sell. Like if
It-
they know
yeah.
this is gonna be kind of shit, it's gonna be like, "There's slivers. Please buy it," and
Yeah.
then people are gonna buy it because it's
Yeah.
slivers.
Actually, it'd be funny if they insert just like a single sliver that's like Sliver Phyrexian Eldrazi.
Ooh, this the beginnings of something.
All
Maybe.
creatures you control are Phyrexians, and it's like all slivers you control are Phyrexians, and all.
And then people are gonna be like, "What the fuck does this mean? What does this mean? I don't get
Oh,
it."
man.
Or
They
our
could
ability is
literally
all
just
slivers
to,
you control are
create
colorless.
Chaos in the community. They could literally just release the one card in like a Horizon
Yeah.
set just to create absolute chaos. I would love it.
I like this. I like this idea. I'm sold. See, that'd be. See, that's
why,
kind
why
of cool.
don't we work at Wizards? Why
Now-
don't they,
now I
like,
wanna
get us
work at
right now?
Wizards.
Come
I
on,
wanna
just
fix-
give us
I wanna
give us
fix
the
it.
contract right
Yeah.
now. We're waiting.
Yeah, just come on. We want to make the MCU money, so give it to
The
us, Wizards.
MCU money.
Give it some, because we're basically doing like an MCU plot right now. This is basically an MCU plot.
Basically, I mean,
Yeah,
Like rising threat of the Phyrexians.
yeah. It
Their
sounds like a freaking
hubris
comic
brings
book.
the Eldrazi. Now they have to deal with the Eldrazi, while the planeswalkers and the different planes fight against everything.
Just portals opening up everywhere. Just chaos ensuing in Dominaria, of course.
course.
yes, it
Back
all
to the
takes-
beginning.
It all must take place in Dominaria. I mean,
Going
it
back
does
to the
make
beginning,
sense
beginning.
for it to take place in Dominaria though, because isn't Dominaria like one of those like Nexus, like kind of Nexus areas?
It's
in-
close. That's what I was gonna say. It's like it's not. If I'm not mistaken, it's like not the main one.
Okay.
I don't think we've ever been to like the where the mending actually happened.
That could be the place then, or Dominaria for the sake of nostalgia. Like it's one of those. One of the two.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of Okay. It's been an hour and a half. I think it's been a pretty good podcast. You know.
Yeah, it was like
um,
we had a little pre-planned thing, and then just kind of lore
off.
dumping and speculating. Also because no spoilers, and I'm actually it's just been really nice.
Yeah,
not
it's
having
been refreshing. I thank you, Wizards, and then I will hate you next week when you probably spoil something and ruin it all up again because they're not gonna be able to hold themselves. They're just gonna be spoiling something next week. I just feel it, or there's gonna be a leak. You know what? There's probably been a leak, and we haven't even checked because we're not on Reddit all the time.
I've been
Who
checking
knows?
every
You've been
day.
checking. There's no leak. Okay.
No leak yet.
Okay.
Yet.
See, that's the thing.
Yet.
Watch us finish this podcast.
I mean, the
there be a stupid
last
leak
leak
on Reddit?
was
Hasn't it
the
happened before? Like we literally finished the podcast, and like an hour later,
I-
we're
I
like,
hope.
"Hey, look, there's like a
Yeah,
thing. This would have
There's
been
a
great
thing, and we
for
forgot
tonight."
to mention. Is what I'm
the
saying.
last the last leak was one of the commanders for the Innistrad sets,
Okay.
the white green one.
Right.
That whenever like it gets a +1 counter and you draw a card and something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's cool.
yeah.
Like we'll see what happens with those two. It's two, right? It's two for each.
I
Yeah,
think
do
so.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think so too.
Kind of like do at least
well-
4 colors or like 4 like color
it's
combinations.
two colors.
Two colors,
The
two
white
colors.
green one is white green.
I like.
The other is probably going to be red green for the planeswalker for the either red green or red green black, maybe red green
I
blue.
can see that.
I know it's red green because that's the colors of werewolves.
But they might
and
stick a
white-
green because reanimation purposes or whatever.
But I know it's white green for the human one.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We probably know that the vampire one is going to be red black. We don't know what the other one's going to be. Probably white blue.
No, Demir.
Demir.
Yes, because of Gisela and the other guy.
Yeah, but also like the Geist of Saint Draft is white blue.
Yeah.
I guess so. Okay, yeah, sure.
We haven't had a good white blue commander in a while because the last Spirit in Kaldheim was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, he was. I agree.
So,
Horrifyingly disappointing. Fair enough. Okay, JP, where can the people find you?
well, the people can find me here in the Cardboard K podcast. You can find us in tons of places, like in every podcast format.
Yep.
You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook.
Twitter.
What about you, Chris?
Not Twitter, not Twitch.
Well, you guys can find me on my Twitch, ChrisCross13. I've been doing some Final Fantasy stuff with no commentary, so if you guys are into Final Fantasy 7, I'm starting to play the game all over again in hard mode, so if you haven't experienced it before, I'm only in Chapter 2, so you won't be missing a lot.
Nice. You can find me in
Okay.
a thousand places, but you can find me here at Cardboard Cave. You can find me in the Movie Guy Tuesdays and Thursdays, where we talk about what we saw over the weekend, special topics, etc. You can find me in my podcast, in Mas Podcasts, where on Sunday I will be talking about the movie Val, that documentary of Val Kilmer that was released on Amazon Prime. Beautiful documentary. It's really depressing. As an artist, it touched me. It affected me in ways that I didn't think I could be affected. Seeing like the struggle of this man, dude. Like when he talks about being in Batman, I was expecting, like, I was like, okay, so he's gonna talk about being in Batman. Let's see. Horrible. He had a horrible
Yeah.
experience, and he talks about that. It's great. It's great when he talks about that. So we'll be discussing that. I'll be with an
I mean, that
actor.
whole thing was horrible.
Oh yeah, he's called Pedro de Leon. He's an actor friend of mine. We're gonna be discussing the podcast, and we're gonna be discussing that movie. You can also find me at 15 Report, where I do cinema nerds, and we discuss artsy films. Tomorrow I won't be joining their podcast, but they will be talking about foodie movies. It's gonna be the movie Burning, where it's Bradley Cooper, and a documentary about sushi, which I think is on Netflix. I forgot the name. It's a really good documentary. And that's it. Google me. Google my name. We also do Commander games. We did a Commander game last week. It was a great Commander game. I think.
Especially for you. Especially
Yes.
you just won
Yeah,
all the
right. It
games.
was great for me. Like I'm sorry, but
It's fine. It's
I
fine. The
promise
second
to
game
roll
was a
that out
great
to
game.
modest
that's true.
game.
The
First-
second, I agree.
The first game was kind of just a little
Yeah,
bit
it's
slow,
true.
maybe because you stalled the board.
I had to because I was trying to find a way to win. I had to. I was like thinking to
but the
myself,
second, like the second game, you just like, I smack you, JP. Take extra turn, I smack someone else. Wait, I can kill JP. Just extra turn, smack me. Oh wait, I can kill everyone. Just smack to everyone.
yeah. I
No,
was
seriously,
taking
like,
extra
that-
turns and smacking everyone. It was fair. It was fair.
Like it was
fair
an
to
actual,
win.
like it was an actual good game because
Yeah,
like
it's true.
one more turn, I probably would have killed either. We were all gonna like kill each other. Maybe Carlos was kind of behind.
True. Carlos wasn't doing much.
Wasn't doing much, but other than that, we were all like relatively even. I had an engine,
Yes.
even though I did nothing with that engine, just tried a million times.
True. And John was becoming a problem. So
Jan was a problem, yes.
I mean, to be fair, John pretty much becomes a problem every Commander game if you like don't touch him enough.
well, we're developing boards. He just went off too
Yeah.
quick because he had the prismatic bridge. I think that was a problem, right?
Yeah,
He had
yeah.
prismatic bridge. It was going off. So but it was a good game.
There's like
Sure.
Prismatic Bridge. Oh look, Nico Bolas.
Yeah, literally on the first one, it was like Nicole Ball. I was like, Jesus Christ, man, what the hell? It was insane, but it was a good game. I agree.
It was a great game, yeah.
So hopefully we'll have more Commander games as well. But I hope you enjoyed
Well, I'll get to
tonight's
use my joy.
podcast, and I hope you have a good evening and have a great night.
Hey geeks, do you love comics, collectibles, and TCG? Well, here at Cardboard Cave, we have the place for you. Pass by Kapitan Granuja Comics and Games and find all your favorite geeky items there. Look for them at Facebook or Instagram or call them at 787-659-7003. A store blessed by Nicole Bolas.